Hi, it's Nick from Lake Geneva Country Meats, and one of the most popular items we sell is a whole beef tenderloin. These are great to roast for parties and special occasions. They're some of the best parts of a beef animal. They're so tender and buttery, rich texture. I absolutely love these. Unlike some steaks that have so much fat in them that you can't really mess up the cooking, these are very lean, delicate pieces of meat. And if you aren't careful, you can mess up how you cook them. Don't fear, we're here with really easy instructions on how you can perfectly cook these and not mess up this really delicious, really great piece of meat. So let's get started by showing you how we're gonna prep this for cooking. First of all, go ahead and preheat your oven to 500 degrees. We're gonna get a nice sear on the outside, and while it's preheating, have your meat set out for about 30 minutes to get up to room temperature. We're gonna take it out of the wrapping and show you what it looks like. All right, here we go. We have a beautifully trimmed whole beef tenderloin. Some places you'll get untrimmed tenderloins, and we have about half loss on it. If you have silver skin on it, that's a no-go. That's no good. It ruins this piece of meat. If you're buying tenderloin, get it from a great butcher. We'll have it trimmed. We're gonna make sure everything on there is delicious and ready to eat. There's two sides to a tenderloin. We have what's called the head side here, and we have what's called the tail side here. A lot of recipes want you to tie this up, and I'll tie it up to make sure it cooks evenly because it's different thicknesses throughout. Something to consider though is, in my family, my wife likes her meat a little bit more well done, and I like mine a little more rare. So if that's the type of family you have, don't tie it. Let the tail part cook a little bit more and be a little bit more done, and the center be a little bit more rare. Then you have two types of doneness in one steak. So to tie this up, what we need to do is just go and tuck the tail like this. So we're gonna do that, and then there's tie knots with butcher twine. We have some that we can give you. A butcher is gonna be able to give it to you. Otherwise, you can use floss, anything like that. So before we tie this dough, we're gonna season this. Use your favorite steak seasoning. You can use just salt and pepper, a Montreal steak rub. I like our ultimate steak and roast rub right here. It's delicious. And this doesn't have a lot of flavor. It's more of a textural thing. So be generous, but not over the top. So let's go ahead and season this on all sides before we tie it. And I'm just doing this all in the roasting pan we're gonna use for easy cleanup. As you can see, I'm being generous, but not going over the top on this. We wanna add some flavor, but not overwhelm it. Everything's seasoned, so let's tie this up. Again, all we wanna do is tuck the tail in so that it's one big roast. Get your twine. There's a lot of different ways to do that. The easiest way to do it, I think, just cut off a length, loop it underneath, get it tight, and just tie a simple knot. There's fancy butcher knots you can tie. I'm not great at those. You probably aren't either, so don't worry about it. Cut off the extra. We're gonna tie the tail and the head together. There we go, it's all tied. It's gonna cook more evenly. So time to put this on a roasting rack over this tray. And something I like to do is just spray the tray with nonstick cooking oil. It helps with cleanup and gets it off easier without tearing off any of the crust you're gonna get on the outside. Put that in the middle. We're gonna let it roast at 500 degrees for 15 minutes. That's gonna get a nice sear on the outside, delicious. After that, we're gonna drop the heat down to 325 degrees and cook for about 10 minutes per pound. With tenderloin, it's super important you don't overcook it. My advice to you is to use a probe thermometer to cook to 130 degrees internal temperature. Take it out when it gets to 130 degrees, let it rest, and that gives you a 135 finished temperature for a beautiful medium rare. We really recommend cooking to temperature, not time. That's the best way to guarantee you don't overcook this beautiful and expensive piece of meat. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a probe in right the middle of it, run this out of the oven, and watch on your monitor as it cooks. Time to put it in the oven. Our tenderloin has reached 130 degrees and it's time to pull it out of the oven. It smells so good, I can't wait to look at it. Let's get it. Oh man, it's perfectly roasted. Look at that. It smells so good. I know you probably want to just slice it up and eat it, but it's very important to let this rest, continue cooking for a little bit, and get all the juices redistributed. So I'm going to pull out the probe, cut it open, let everything lay out, rest, and after 10 minutes, we're going to slice it up into some beautiful slices of tenderloin for everyone to enjoy. We've let this sit and rest, and we're going to be rewarded for our patience. Let's transfer this to a cutting board and start cutting some slices to enjoy. With the whole tenderloin roasted, there are a number of ways you can cut it. You can cut it into fillets for nice big individual servings, or you can slice it sandwiches, whatever you like. I'm going to cut this into kind of moderately thin slices that you can put on rolls or have a few slices of. I like the thinner slices because you get that really nice tender texture of the tenderloin. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead, slice off this little bit here. That's going to be a treat for me later. Next, I'm going to slice off the head, just like this. And this gives me a little bit more uniform shape to get slices off of. Now we want to put our knife on a bias and just start slicing some nice, thin slices. You can see a little bit of pink in the middle, medium rare, delicious. These will be great for tenderloin sandwiches or whatever you would like. And you can just feel as the knife goes through, this is buttery, smooth. These end bits, we'll just set these aside as well for some little snacks. Now we got the head, and again, we can just cut nice, thin pieces. All right, we have a whole mess of tenderloin here, so let's transfer this to a serving platter. And I have one of my favorite serving platters. It's a steer. This was my grandma's. You're probably making this for a special occasion, maybe for family. I love food because I think it brings families together. So let's arrange these out on this platter here. I like to kind of mound it because it encourages people to grab several instead of having it fanned out. These around the edge. All right, a beautiful plate full of roasted whole tenderloin, great for sandwiches, for meals, and I did promise one of these end bits would be for me. Let's give it a taste. So tender, so buttery rich. That seasoning on the outside with the crush from the sear, it's just delicious. As you can see, it's a very straightforward recipe, but you want to make sure you don't overcook this. Use the probe thermometer and you'll be in good shape. Hope you enjoy, and we'll see you soon at Lake Geneva Country Meats.